Hello students, we will do the chapter Movements of the Earth from the Geography syllabus. This is the third video of the chapter and we will do the effects of the Earth's revolution. But before that, we will quickly revise what we have done so far. We have learned about the two movements of the Earth, the rotation and the revolution, the effects of the Earth's rotation, and also about the Earth's orbit, how a leap year is calculated, or what is a leap year. We know about the axis and the orbit of the Earth. Today we will take up the effects of the Earth's revolution. We know that the Earth is revolving round the Sun in an elliptical orbit, and the time taken by the Earth to complete one revolution is 365 and 1/4 days. Now what happens due to this revolution of the Earth? Now, the first effect of the Earth's revolution is variation in the length of day and night. As a proof of the Earth's revolution, we have learned that the length of days and nights are not equal throughout the year. It varies, it changes. That is due to the revolution. The second that happens is that due to the variation in length of day and night, amount of sun rays received by the Earth's surface, there is a difference in temperature, which again gives rise to change in seasons. And third effect of the Earth's revolution is that from the revolution of the Earth, we get the idea of a year. One complete revolution of the Earth around the Sun is taken as a year by us. So, what are the effects? Variation in the length of day and night, change in the seasons, and also we get an idea of the year. Now, why these effects, or why there is a change in the Earth's in the variation of the length of day and night, or why there is a change of seasons on the Earth's surface? We have to find out these reasons. Now, before doing that, we need to know that the main reason for the variation in the length of day and night is that of we can say inclination of the Earth's axis, and also the Earth's revolution. As the Earth is not straight, it is tilted or it is inclined, and in this position it is revolving around the Sun. Because of this inclination of the Earth's axis at an angle of 66.5 degrees, we find that the amount of sun rays received by the Earth's surface varies, and which in turn again gives rise to change in seasons. So it happens mainly because of the two reasons, that is the revolution and because of the Earth's inclination of the Earth's axis at an angle of 66.5 degrees. Now, we need to know that the Earth is revolving around the Sun on an elliptical orbit. We know that, and on its orbit, it is the position of the Earth changes. And due to this change in the positions of the Earth, which is again due to revolution, the amount of sun rays that is received by the Earth's surface also varies. Now, what happens if this is our Earth? It is inclined, the axis is inclined, that is the Earth is not straight, it is inclined, and due to this inclination, what is happening? The Sun, sometimes the northern hemisphere is leaning towards the Sun, and sometimes the southern hemisphere is leaning towards the Sun. When the northern hemisphere is leaning towards the Sun and the sun rays are falling on the Tropic of Cancer, what is happening? The Tropic of Cancer is located at 23.5 degrees north. When the Earth is revolving around the Sun, it is coming to such a position that the northern hemisphere, this entire northern hemisphere, it is leaning towards the Sun, and the direct rays of the Sun is falling on the latitude 23.5 degrees north, which is known as the Tropic of Cancer. As a result of this, what is happening? The entire northern hemisphere is receiving more amount of sun rays. The length of the day and night is also changing. The length of day is more, that is, it is more, whereas days are longer and nights are shorter. And as we are moving from the Tropic of Cancer towards the polar region, we slowly find that the length of the day is increasing. And when we reach near the polar regions, we find that the sun never sets. Beyond the Arctic Circle, that is 66.5 degrees north, beyond that latitude, we find that the sun never sets. That is, we can see the sun throughout the day, throughout the 24 hours, and this is known as the land of the midnight sun. Now the question is when it happens. On 21st of June, the sun rays falls directly on the Tropic of Cancer. The northern hemisphere is leaning towards the sun. All the places in the northern hemisphere are experiencing summer because the length of the days are longer, whereas the lengths of the nights are shorter. And as we are moving towards the poles, or as we are moving upward from the Tropic of Cancer, we find that slowly the length of the day is increasing. And when we go beyond the Arctic Circle, which is 66.5 degree north, beyond that we find that the sun never sets. We can see the sunlight for 24 hours. This region is known as the land of the midnight sun, and the entire northern hemisphere is experiencing summer season during this time. What is happening in the southern hemisphere? The southern hemisphere, the condition is just the opposite. The southern hemisphere is away from the sun, so it is receiving the oblique rays of the sun, and here it is the opposite season prevails. That is, it is summer in the northern hemisphere, it is winter in the southern hemisphere, and as we are going towards the South Pole region, we find slowly the length of the day is increasing. Winter means the days are shorter and nights are longer. And towards the polar regions, towards the 66.5 degrees south, as we are moving towards it, the sun is not visible. They are having darkness because it is winter during that period of time. Hammerfest, which is located at 70 degree north in Norway, this region is experiencing continuous daylight from May 13 to June 29. During this entire period, the place called Hammerfest is receiving the continuous daylight, and the duration of the days are slowly increasing, and these places, the places in the polar regions, are experiencing 6 months of continuous daylight. So this is the position of the Earth on 21st June in its orbit, and due to this position of the Earth, we are experiencing summer in the northern hemisphere, whereas the opposite season prevails in the southern hemisphere, that is, it is winter over there. Now again the Earth is moving, and then it is coming to a position where the sun rays are falling directly on the equator. The rays of the sun, they are falling on the equator. When the sun rays are falling on the equator, all the places on the Earth's surface, they are getting sun rays for equal, the length of day and night is equal. That is, the amount of sun rays received by the places on the Earth's surface, they are equal. And this position is taking place on 23rd of September. On 23rd September, the sun rays are falling directly on the equator, and all the places on the Earth's surface, they are having 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. This position of the Earth is known as the equinox. Equi means equal and nox means night. So, we are having equal day and night on all the places on the Earth's surface, and this is happening when on 23rd of September, when the sun rays are falling directly on the equator. So all the places are having equal days and equal nights. So today we have learned about the Earth's position on 21st of June, that is the summer solstice, and also about the equinox. In the next video we will take